Welcome back from that break, and right now we get into the conversation. Of course, with me in the studio this evening is Prince Oyelude Oladele, and he is the Director General Tinubu Shetima Ambassador and also the DG of Advocacy for Local Government Autonomy in Nigeria. It's a pleasure to have you join me this evening in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. But then, let me start by asking, what do members of your party mean when they say don't blame President Tinubu for the crashing economy? We could use the word crashing because we really can see what the economy is saying under his administration. So I want to understand, what do members of your party mean when they say don't blame President Bola Tinubu for the crashing economy?
Well, I think the reason why any party member of the All Progressive Congress will say that is just because of the accumulation lapses in time immemorial since 1999 up to date, and we can all attest to it. There has been a serious lopsided in governance in the country since 1999 up to date. So if any party member of the All Progressive Congress or women in Nigeria say don't blame Tinubu, they should know, Nigerians should know that it is as a result of the accumulated lapses in governance in Nigeria, whereby all the past presidents, they have in one way or the other did wrong in governing the country, and accumulation of that will definitely result to lapses in governance and the issue of the economy in the country. So we all know that governance is continuum, and definitely when governance is like this and when the criticism is beyond normal, definitely the person in government and the political party will definitely refer back to the past scenario in the country, the past governance and how it all went. So that's the major reason why the party members will say that don't blame Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the lapses in the economic situation.
Viewers, at this point our phone lines are now open for you to call in to join the conversation or give your own take. But again, when we talk about the you said the accumulated lapses by the former administration, but then we can even see from what we are getting from MBS and IMF and the rest of it, we could see that it's not even about the economy being stable on how he met it, rather is reducing. Again, during campaign, President Bola Tinubu told us that he was prepared for the job, means he was fully ready for the job. He even said he campaigned for the job. So, but you know, the policies that has been taken under his administration, himself, the presidency, and his team has reduced the economy. So, would you still rate that to the accumulated, or assuming the economy was to be maybe at the stable or where it was, where he met it, but rather it has gone far from where he met it? How do you explain that?
Definitely, I don't think the policy embarked upon by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has even affected the situation of the economy in the way that, just like I said earlier before, that is the.
But it really did affect, because if we should look at the reports.
Well, definitely, because the issue of subsidy removal is one of the major things whereby there are inflations and all the issue, the economic situation is like this. But I think it is long overdue to remove this fuel subsidy, and you can attest to it that all the presidential candidates during the electioneering process attested to it that they are going to remove fuel subsidy. And if you understand the removal of subsidy very well, you know that definitely it will affect the economic situation of the country. It will create inflation and everything like that has been happening. So, and before we stabilize it, definitely our refinery will work, and the proceed from the subsidy removal also will be utilized properly. So there is no how someone, even if it is Atiku or Peter Obi that emerge as the presidential candidate, we cannot avoid what we are seeing now. We cannot avoid it. Definitely we'll pass through it. It's a facet of life that we must pass through, and we must see how to manage it to get to our destination. The removal of subsidy has been on ground quite long. Even when Goodluck Jonathan was on board, he planned to remove it, and definitely I don't think he has the boldness to do that, because definitely there is no how you remove subsidy that you will not witness inflation of commodities in the country. So the removal of subsidy has created a lot of lacunas, and the excess borrowing of money from foreign countries and all those things affected foreign reserve as well, whereby when foreign reserve has been affected, definitely there will be increase in the exchange rate. So all those things affected the economy of the country, and that's why we find ourselves in this situation. But I think the policy embarked upon by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, I know that definitely if we can manage the situation very well, we'll definitely move out of it and find ourselves in the destination that we ought to be.
Now, when you talk about managing this situation, the president has said similar thing where he said, give him time. But the question is, how much more time do Nigerians need to give the president and his administration? Just like you say, if we could manage the situation, so how long and how long is Nigerians supposed to hold on to or give time, like the president will always say?
Well, renovation of a dilapidated house depends on the engineers that want to.
So even if he's going to take the whole of the 4 years of his administration?
It depends on Nigerians as well. When you want to renovate a building and the occupant refuses to move or need to do the needful things, you find it difficult to renovate such house. For instance, let me give you an instance. The removal of subsidy by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has created enough fund for the state government and the local government and even the federal government itself, because throughout the reign of President Muhammad Buhari, the former president, I don't think there is any month whereby they share up to 1 trillion naira in a month. But now they are sharing 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 trillion naira by the 3 tiers of government, and this money is supposed to go down to the grassroots. And if the money is going down to the grassroots, definitely it will reduce the pressure, the complaint from Nigerians. So that's why I say it depends on how to manage the resources, because when you remove subsidy, definitely there will be it's just like somebody's paying your school fees and he or she decided not to pay the school fee again. So the money that he or she is using to pay your school fees is diverting it to something else. So how to use that money is now what is on ground that Nigerians need to look out to. The removal of subsidy has increased the allocation of state governments to 100%, 50%, depending on states. So if that money is well utilized, I don't think even people at the grassroots will not really have the effect of subsidy removal or complain of what they call it, inflation of commodities, because the money has not been utilized properly, most especially in agricultural sectors. So if we are not productive, there is no how we will not be facing economic hardship or inflation of commodities. We have to be productive. And if that money is well diverted, most especially in the agricultural sector, definitely we'll have changes, and the economic situation will at least be reduced to in a situation whereby there will not be inflation.
Well, I love that, but when it comes to being productive, I bet you there are so many factors to it. We'll talk about security, but that's it. I want to get your opinion, what you think or what you make out of the former president's speech at the Yale University, where he said that where he mentioned that the failed leadership is what has brought Nigeria into the chaos he's into.
Which president was that?
From Olusegun Obasanjo.
Yeah, he's referring to himself, failed leadership. That's why I said that accumulated lapses from 1999.
Are you saying the former president Olusegun Obasanjo was a failed leader?
He was as well, because the country ought not to. He was even trying to do third time. I know if the constitution stated it that you can only serve for 2 terms, and you observe that you fail in 8 years, definitely you still want to come back to maybe do amendments or something like that. Governance is continuum. But if he is saying that maybe failed government, he's also adding himself, because there are lapses during his reign as well. There are lapses then in many sectors, even in the electricity sectors, whereby trillions of dollars, trillions of naira was embezzled, under his watch, and everybody knows. So if he is talking about failure in governance, definitely they are all corporates, including him, up to date. You know, so there is nobody that can exonerate his or herself from the governance of the country if you have in one way occupy a leadership position before in the country. So I don't think I will not say it's wrong, but he should not remove himself from the lapses.
But then we know we've never had a perfect leader, and there is no country which have. But if you were to make comparison with that of Obasanjo's administration and that of President Tinubu, what would be your assessment?
Well, I think just like I said, governance is continual. If we are talking of Obasanjo now, that's how many years ago? He has been out of the government now more than 16 years. So you know, a child of 16 years now is even menstruating, you know. So you cannot really compare, because the exchange rate then is quite different from what is on ground now. And the allocation he was sharing then is quite different. So there are many factors, there are many things that have changed. But the truth is that there are policies that ought to be taken seriously when he was on board, when he was the president of the country, that he failed to do. Like what exactly? For instance, the local government's autonomy, you know, given to the grassroots. But then the fact that he didn't, you know, implement or assent to that does not mean that he never did anything, or he never did things, or he never did. He never made achievements when he was. No, I'm not saying he doesn't achieve. When he was on. At least he brought telecommunication during his reign. You know, so but he cannot. Nobody can say that this one is 100% perfect. You know, as much he or she is not God. You know, so but the lapses I'm telling you about, that as Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Senator Kashim Shettima has taken so far is commendable. You know, because they are not. Asiwaju is not considering his re-election, because a president that is thinking of recontesting will not try to take the decision, the policy of local government autonomy. Do you know what it takes? But we've seen your party, the APC, make several moves that you know, that are glaring and telling that they already start the ground hitting for 2027. So I'm surprised you're saying that he's not even talking about No, I'm not saying he's not talking about. I say he's not thinking of it, because if you want to be re-elected as a governor or as a president, there are some things you will not want to. There are some policies you will not want to embark on, because it may affect your reign. Look at the what they call it, this recent protest. You can see many governors didn't support the president in that way. Most of them stand akimbo, and you can see most of the states whereby there are crisis, the citizens of that state are destroying the property of the federal government and keeping that of the states. You know, because there are some policies that most of the state governors observe that this policy will affect them. It will affect their level of corruption, and that's the reason why they keep quiet and they are not really happy with some of the policy, which is mainly the local government autonomy. Yes. So these are the reason why I must commend him. And when I say that it's not considering his re-election, I mean it in the sense that if you are considering your re-election, you will pick and decide on policies that you will embark upon. But he is not considering that, because telling the local government to have their power is just like giving power to the people, you know, which is purely democracy. So if you are giving power to the people, definitely there are some set of people, there are some leadership which is at the central will not really want to accept or appreciate that, because you are trying to remove a wing out of their two wings, you know. So these are the reasons why I must commend Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So in your assessment, you think the administration of President Bola Tinubu is better than that of Olusegun Obasanjo? No, this is just 1 year, so we cannot just say that there is no assessment we can do. This is 1 year, okay, but then let's leave the both of them out of it, but let's assess the economy itself. Let's talk about the inflation, let's talk about the GDP of Nigeria, the gross domestic this of Nigeria. Let's talk about the inflation. What are you not seeing the gap or the margin between the last administration and this? We're not even talking. I have said it earlier that you cannot avoid inflation when there is subsidy removal. But again, so the money that was made, that is being made, that they've been making, from the subsidy, where has it been going to? That's what I'm saying. That's why, you know, let me tell you the fact: the removal of subsidy, the local government autonomy for the grassroots is like an antidote to the removal of subsidy. You understand what I mean? Is an antidote to the removal of subsidy in the sense that you are trying to give back that resources to the grassroots. In the sense that when you said local government autonomy, definitely the allocation that the local government deserve will be going back to them directly. And I told you that the removal of subsidy has increased the allocation of the states, increased the allocation of the local government. In my own local government, I keep on saying that my local government is around 100 million naira before the removal of subsidy. And now they are earning 251 million naira. And the money is going to the joint account of the state and the local government. So how do you think that local people will benefit from it when they don't even know what is coming to their local government? You understand? The federal government will take their budget to the National Assembly. The state government will take their budget to the State Assembly. But the local government, where are they taking their own budget to? The state government is pocketing it. You know, so assuming the money is going to the local government directly, and the chairman can walk down to the chamber of councillors, whereby he or she can present the budget, the councillor will assess it, and all the community will know that, okay, in my local government this year, we are going to spend 4 billion naira. Because there's no, I don't think there's any local government in this country now that their allocation in a year is not up to 2.5 billion naira. Yes. So if the chairman can present his or her budget in the local governments, definitely every community will know, and there will be list of of jobs to be done in that year. You understand? But nothing like that is happening. The government will just collect the money, being a joint account with the council, and at the month end, they will look at what's the total cost of what's the total salary of all the workers in that council. They will pay them. You know, after paying them, they will now look at stipends, give to the local government chairman as a running cost. A local government chairman called me in the month of June because he was very happy and he was praying for me as an advocacy for local government autonomy in Nigeria. He called me, he said, what they are passing through at the grassroots is very bad. He said, as a local government chairman, he signed 30 million naira, in which the local government is earning like close to 300 million naira. He signed 30,000 naira, 30 million naira for the payment of worker salary. And the governor gave him 11 point or something million naira as stipends, which is 40 something million naira out of 250 something million naira. You understand? So you to imagine that gaps. Where is the remaining 200 million naira? You understand? And we are complaining. Assuming that money is going to the grassroots directly, do you think that we will not challenge the local government chairman that is living in our community? We will go to his house, we will chase him out, we will let him know to account to it, and we will invite the FCC to arrest him. But the money is not going down. Assuming the money is going down to the grassroots, definitely the chairman will invest that money on agriculture mainly, whereby the products from agricultural activities will be procured back by the local government chairman and preserved in their silos of the council, whereby they can buy it as a subsidized rate when the commodities are getting expensive in the market, because there are seasons for every product. When it is the season of maize, the local government chairman has already procured it from farmers that he invested upon. You know, that commodities will be in the silos. So when it is getting expensive because of the scarcity, the local government chairman will bring it out, selling it to the entire community in that local government as a subsidized rate. So people will not complain more on inflation of commodities. But the money is not going to the grassroots. And everybody is just keeping quiet. We are just watching, looking and complaining about the federal government alone. No, it's beyond that. The policy on local government autonomy taken alone by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is far better than any other existing policy. I must tell you that. Yes, indeed.
Okay, but then let's judge judging by what the former president said about the Nigeria economy. We can clearly see, but you keep hinting about this local government. But then when we talk about economic growth, there is no form of growth reflecting in IMF. About Nigeria's economy. So are you not worried about that? Because you keep hinting of local government autonomy, which is quite a fantastic move by the president. But then what happens to our economic growth? Because we're not seeing these things or those policies that you said are being taken reflect to the growth of our economy. And we can tell you right now, you are aware that Nigeria's economy is one of the worst growing economy. So what do you want Nigerian? What do you want to tell Nigerians about that?
Just like I said, I'll keep on repeating myself until you understand.
I understand what you're saying, but I want to understand why, if okay, but then let me make some comparison. Okay. Under former president Olusegun Obasanjo, we had the GDP at 6.95%. Under Tinubu, we are having 2.9%. But under Buhari, we have 2.31%. Under Yar'Adua, we have 7.98%. So I am trying to explain that of all the past administration, even before, you can see the GDP which have dropped drastically. So I am talking about the economy at large, the growth of it. Why does it keep depreciating instead of increasing?
Definitely, there is no, just like I said to you, I explained to you, all the past presidents you are talking about, do you consider how much they borrow from foreign countries? Do you know the level, the amount that Nigeria is owing the foreign countries? Even the IMF we are talking about today, they will say something positive about Nigeria, tomorrow another thing. I think they're just
but apart from what they say, this is what we see clearly. This is what we are.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to. Do you know that even Asiwaju has been paying the debt left behind by the former presidents, including Obasanjo himself? So there is no how you are deducting, you are taking money from the foreign reserve of the country, and you are still borrowing money from the foreign country and foreign financial institutions, that it will not affect the economy of the country. Definitely it will affect it, and it will affect the exchange rate as well. So that's why we find ourselves in this situation, because of the excess debt that the country is owing the foreign countries. Definitely will have it's definitely affecting us, and that's why Asiwaju is trying to clear the debt, and there is no how, if you are paying debt, you still want to borrow in one way or the other when you observe lapses. So there is no how you not experience economic meltdown. So the problem is, the truth is just that we are going to get out of it. It's a matter of time, whereby
Nigerians want to know when we are getting out of it, because the heat is too much. But before you take that, Prince, let's hear what the scholar wants to say to us. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Glad to have you join us on the show. Your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Matthew. I'm calling you from Benue State.
Matthew from Benue State. Please go ahead, and you have just 60 seconds.
Thank you. I just want to appreciate the young man in the studio and tell him he's doing a great job. And my sister, you are also doing a great job. Let's hit the point, the nail on the head right now. I think it's high time we stop this noise making and begin to face reality.
Okay.
All those what do they call it, paperwork, economic, whatever you are mentioning in the studio, they are not the reality of things on ground in Nigeria now. All the things Obasanjo mentioned, I want to ask the young man in the studio, are those things not right? Is there anything that he mentioned that is wrong? All the things he mentioned in his interviews are all happening in Nigeria today. Is it the INEC? Is it the economy? They are all happening in Nigeria today. And if you pretend as if the international community are not aware that Nigerian economy is going down the drain, is nosediving, you should be telling yourself lies. Those of you around us, you should stop telling him lies and start telling him the truth. That the people who voted him into power are languishing in pains, are languishing in poverty, are languishing in hunger. Tell him the truth and stop pretending as if this whole thing is just a mere. Look at the INEC. Well, let me speak about INEC that Obasanjo spoke about. It's correct. You need to sack the leadership of INEC. That is just the bitter truth.
All right.
You need to sack them. Sack the INEC, and all other past leaders are supposed to come up and begin to speak against some of those nonsense that are happening in the country. We need to speak up.
All right.
My daughter in the studio, you have relatives, you have friends, you have people. You should know. Ask them. They will tell you the truth. And stop. People should stop telling us what you mean lies.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you very much, and have yourself a wonderful evening. I would want you to respond to this caller. So I was trying to make reference to, you know, the why these policies aren't reflecting on our economy, and apart from the economy, this is what we all feel. So I want you to.
Yeah, well, he mentioned maybe let me say what Obasanjo, you know, emphasized upon categorically the issue of INEC. You know, if you look at Obasanjo's history on the electioneering process, you know, go and do more findings on it. You know that he was the one that has conducted the worst election under him, you know, in Nigeria. So everybody knows that the history is out there. And if we're talking about INEC, the present INEC chairman has done very well.
How has he done so well?
To be candid. And I think you can, maybe you will explain one or two things that he did wrong. The election that he has conducted wrongly.
But so far, we've seen the past elections. We've seen what played out. So I don't know. I'm not condemning, but I'm saying Nigerians who are watching Nigerians who are the ones voting are seeing what is happening, and so it's not even about
really election. I was talking. He's talking about INEC. This same Obasanjo, instead of him to talk about the SIEC, you know, the SIEC, that's the State Electoral Independent Electoral Commission. You know, this man that just called now from Benue State, in his own state, the local government election in his own state, all the councils and all the local government were cleared by the sitting governor. You know, the sitting party, the ruling party in that state, which is the APC. You know, is that possible? And you know, you see some states, for instance, look at which states. There are many states whereby.
But Prince, what apart from the leadership, which they've never been a perfect election. You can agree with me. So they've never been a perfect election. Let's leave the side of what the electioneering process that brought Obasanjo. Let's talk about the fact, the economy. But then, what the things he has mentioned, are they not true? But before you take that,
it's part of what I'm trying to explain.
I want us to hear what this caller will say. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. It's glad to have you join us. Your name and where you're calling us from. Oh, sorry, we lost that caller. You might have to call us back. So, but apart from the leadership that he has talked about, what he's saying, are they lies? Are they not true?
That is his own personal assessment.
No, by assessment of what Nigerians are, by assessment of what the economy is at the moment under Tinubu's administration, are they lies?
That is what, you know, when you want to renovate a building, there's no how you not find yourself uncomfortable, because you have to move out of the house. You have to look for where you stay. So at least within 2-3 days or 1 week, or depending on the house, you find yourself disorganized.
Apologies. So I want to hear what this caller, so that you have to respond to both at the same time. Good evening. If you can hear me, good evening. Oh, sorry. Okay, yes.
So there's no how you not find yourself disorganized when you want to renovate a house, and that's what Asiwaju is trying to do. You know, because there are lapses. You know, for an instance, the past government has used the crude oil of this country to borrow money in the foreign country, whereby they will just be coming and take our crude, because the previous government has used the crude oil to borrow. So what are we now seeing? You know, and it's fault, everything falls on Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu now, and he's trying to renovate everything that has been dilapidated in the country. So there's no how we not face hardship. That's just the bitter truth. You know, we were just complaining because maybe most people that will complain is maybe because it's not their presidential candidate.
It's not about,
no, let me explain that in that regard.
It's about the
issue is that
it's about the economy.
The issue is that the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, that of the PDP, and the APC,
leave political parties out.
There is no how you remove subsidy that you will not face hardship.
But then,
you understand?
But then the removal of the fuel subsidy, of course, a good one. But do you think good alternatives or major alternatives we are taking to at least ease the pain of Nigerians?
Let me tell you what Nigerians need to do. The citizens of this country need to face the state governors and the local government chairmen. I keep on saying that the money that is going to the grassroots now is enough to change many things, most especially in the agricultural sector. I keep on saying that.
But you're aware that our agricultural sector cannot function properly if security is not addressed. Because apart from what we know, that what has contributed to the food insecurity is banditry and the rest of it. Farmers can no longer go to their farms. So about the agricultural sector, I think insecurity has to be the major sector to be taken if you want to tackle food insecurity. But then go ahead.
Everything still laps on what I keep on saying. If we are talking of insecurity, now in every local government, either you have 10 or 5 monarchs, you have many communities in your local government, and you have the kings, the chiefs, you know, in those local governments. They have certain percentage they are getting, you know, statutorily from the council. You understand? And if that money is going to them directly, it is for them to, you know, to secure their territory and to manage themselves with that percentage. Now, the total amount is not going to the grassroots. How are you sure that the monarchs are even getting their stipends? You know, because there is no how in a community you will not know when a stranger enter into your domain. You understand? So, and if a stranger enter into your domain and you don't have the capacity, you know, financially, because if you have finance, if you have money, you can even secure yourself in one way or the other. But when you don't have money, money is not coming for you to even eat. How will you secure yourself? And people that are coming, they've started initiating your people. So the money that's meant to each local government, let it go to that local government. You know, a council chairman can access 2 million naira, 3 million, 4 million naira in a month, assuming that money is going straight to the council. So a local government council, a councillor that is getting 2 to 3 million naira, do you think that he will not know how to manage his own ward, all the units in his territory? So we are not talking the right thing, we are not taking the right decision. You see, people will just keep on protesting and complaining, but who are those people that we're supposed to fight? The president said that let us give autonomy to the people in the grassroots, and nobody, no youth, nobody's even protesting. Even Obasanjo did not come out and say that it is high time for all the local governments to have their autonomy. But the governors are trying to destroy everything.
But then when we talk about, you've made fantastic point when it comes to the states, local government autonomy and the rest of it. But we know that one factor that contributed to the hardship that led Nigerians to the street of protest was the increase in PMS. And because we cannot shy away from that, when you talk of goods and services, they have to be transported from one state to the other. And now, in that regard, who is the head of the petroleum? Isn't it President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Yeah.
So
that's what I keep on saying. During the electioneering campaign, all of them campaigned that they are going to remove fuel subsidy. Is there any Nigerian that said no, subsidy shouldn't be removed? We are all complaining that there are some set of Nigerians, there are some senior men that they are receiving that subsidy fund. So we are all supporting our presidential candidates, both the APC, the Labour and the PDP, that the subsidy should be removed. No Nigerians were complaining that no, if they remove subsidy, there will be hardship, there will be this and that. Maybe they don't know the meaning of subsidy, you know, because it's just like, so you are paying 20% of your school fee and then your dad is paying 80%. And dad said that he's not going to pay 80% again. How do you think you cope? How do you think you find it easy? You won't find it easy. But no Nigerians complained then. And now we are complaining. Is it because Asiwaju was on board? Assuming it is Peter Obi now, people will be saying that they have destroyed the country before now. That's why Peter Obi is trying to renovate it. That's what people will be saying. But this man has been on board, taking drastic decision. But you know that people that are eating, that are making the country dry before, they will not stop working against the governance.
So did you forget that President Tinubu told us that the price of petrol is even going to drop from the actual price he met it, even after campaigning that he was going to remove the fuel subsidy. But now what we are seeing is like the promises made on, I don't know the word to use.
Well, that was
should we just assume or take that to be, you know, those sweet talks they tell us during campaign?
Definitely we don't know what will happen tomorrow, but the truth is that, to me, to my own belief, during the presidential campaign, that all of them were saying that they will remove fuel subsidy. I don't expect the fuel price to go down below what it was, because you cannot remove fuel subsidy and expect it to come down. And the truth now is that, you know, Dangote, you know, have a refinery now. Why are we still experiencing? Because he made it clear that his own price of fuel per liter is 900 and something naira. Why is it now that we are producing it in Nigeria? Why is it like that? So what's the assurance that even if we have a refinery, the price of that petroleum product will still come down? You understand? So Nigeria needs to ask that, okay, now that we have a private crude oil production as a PMS production in Nigeria, why is it now that the private company, which is Dangote, is even selling the price high? Because if we want to sell, Nigeria want to be buying the price at which Dangote is still selling, they are still going to buy it above 900,000 naira.
Please, I want you to help me clarify something before we go, because our time is up already. So, according to the MIF, there are two factors that contributed to the crashing economy, which they mentioned the removal of the fuel subsidy, and they mentioned the deregulation of the foreign exchange. How do you think the federal government, or do you think the federal government needs to take another strategy in that aspect?
Well, I think the federal government knows it better than even most of us. They know what they are saying, and if IMF is talking, they will also be talking in regards to their own benefit as well. That's what you must know, because they are foreign, you know, they are international financial distance, you know. So the Nigerian government that is taking a drastic decision now, you know, they know what they are doing. And during the electioneering campaign, IMF didn't come out to say that no, people, all the presidential candidates that are campaigning with removal of fuel subsidy, they shouldn't tamper it. Why is it now that they are now talking about the removal of subsidy?
But then what happens to the regulation of Naira? The
regulation of Naira, definitely there is nothing. The president knows it most. He knows it best. Just like I said, that the foreign reserve in which the previous government has, you know, has embezzled, finished. Definitely, there's nothing they will do without deregulating the naira to, you know, to dollar. You know, they know what they are doing, and they know that that's the best for the country.
And I'm sure that you know that as the naira keep depreciating, it increases the hardship, and the economy won't
dollar depreciate, or dollar
the naira. The more the naira depreciates, of course, you know what it's going to do to the economy. But then we are out of time.
I know. That's the truth is that when we have enough in our foreign reserve, definitely the exchange rate will definitely go down.
All right.
So that's what we just need to do. We need to develop our foreign reserve.
Thank you so much, Prince, for being with me in the studio this evening. It's been fantastic having you. Thank you so much. And this is where we call it a wrap on today's show. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for watching. Until we come your way some other time, keep watching Kaftan Television. I am Messi Emelite, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.